Have you ever felt a tiredness that sleep doesn't cure? An exhaustion so deep it feels like it's coming from your soul? This isn't stress. It's not burnout. According to Carl Jung, it could be a sign that someone close to you is, quite literally, stealing your life force. This isn't a metaphor. Jung understood that our psychic energy, our libido, is a real finite resource. It's the fuel for our ambition, our creativity, our very will to live. And he discovered that certain individuals unconsciously have learned to sustain themselves by siphoning this energy from others. In his clinical notes, he described patient after patient who felt inexplicably drained, hollowed out, and lifeless, despite living what appeared to be a perfectly normal life. They were ghosts in their own bodies, slowly fading away without understanding why. But here is Jung's most shocking discovery, the plot twist that changes everything. These life force thieves are rarely the obvious monsters. They are not the overt bullies or the aggressive narcissists. More often than not, they are the people who seem to need you the most. They are the perpetual victims, the friends who are always in crisis, the family members who depend on your constant help. Their weapon isn't aggression, it's their bottomless, consuming need. And they use this need to forge an invisible, psychic connection to you, a pipeline through which your energy flows directly into them. The very first sign that this connection has been established is something subtle, something that happens right after every single conversation you have with them. Do you know what it is? Let's move to the first deadly sign. Sign 1. The post-interaction fog. Think about the last time you spoke to that person, the one you suspect is draining you. Set aside what was said. Focus on the feeling immediately after. You hung up the phone or walked away. The first deadly sign isn't sadness or anger. It's a strange, creeping fog that descends upon your mind. Confusion. One moment, your thoughts were clear. You knew what you had to do for the day. The next, after talking to them, your mind is a tangled mess. You find yourself replaying the conversation, trying to decipher hidden meanings, feeling a strange sense of unease you can't quite name. Your own priorities, your own thoughts, suddenly seem distant and out of focus. This mental fog is not an accident. It's the residue of a psychic transaction. You went into the conversation with your energy organized. They, on the other hand, are living in a state of internal chaos, a storm of contradictions, anxieties, and unresolved emotions. During your interaction, they unconsciously offload that chaos onto you. You leave the conversation trying to solve a puzzle that was never yours to begin with, your mind now working overtime, spending your precious mental energy trying to organize their disorder. And here's the insidious part, the twist you might not have considered. You might think you're just being a good, empathetic friend, thinking through their problems. But what's really happening is a subtle form of psychic hijacking. Your mind has been temporarily commandeered to do the emotional processing that they are unwilling or unable to do for themselves. You become their outsourced brain, their external hard drive for emotional turmoil. And while you're lost in that fog, trying to make sense of their static, your own life force quietly leaks away. This mental confusion, this theft of your clarity, is just the first layer. It's the smoke that tells you there's a fire. The second sign is far more dangerous because it doesn't just attack your mind, it attacks your very will to live. Let's move on. Sign 2. The vanishing of your ambition. What happened to your dreams? Take a moment and really think about that. What happened to that business idea you were so excited about? The instrument you wanted to learn? The book you were going to write? Those projects that once filled you with a fire, a sense of purpose. Where are they now? The second deadly sign is the slow, silent death of your own ambition. Your life force is the fuel for your creativity, your drive, and your forward momentum. When it's being siphoned away, the first things to go are the non-essential parts of you, your passions, your hobbies, your dreams. You start to feel a creeping apathy. Things that used to excite you now feel like too much effort. You might tell yourself you're just being realistic or that you're too busy, but the truth is, your tank is empty. The fuel meant for your journey is being rerouted to someone else's. Often, this is encouraged by the person draining you in the most subtle ways. They'll plant tiny seeds of doubt, disguised as loving concern. Are you sure that's a good idea? It sounds really risky. Or, I just don't want to see you get hurt if it doesn't work out. They make your ambition sound like a dangerous liability. And the reason they do this is perhaps the most sinister part of this entire dynamic. It's not conscious malice. It's a deep, corrosive, unconscious envy. Your light, your potential, your sheer desire to become more is a painful reminder of the life they've given up on, the risks they never took. And so, to soothe the ache of their own stagnant soul, their unconscious has a desperate primal need to extinguish your fire so its own darkness doesn't feel so cold. Sign 3. The chronic guilt and sense of obligation. Do you feel like you owe this person something? It's not a financial debt. It's a strange, unspoken obligation, a constant nagging feeling that you are somehow responsible for their happiness, their stability, their very well-being. You feel a pang of guilt when you receive good news, because you know they are struggling. You hesitate to take a vacation or even a night off for yourself because you feel you should be available just in case they need you. This is the third deadly sign. You have been trapped in a web of chronic, manufactured guilt. This person has, perhaps without even realizing it, mastered the art of positioning themselves as the perpetual victim. Their life is a constant stream of crises, injustices, and misfortunes, and you have been cast in the role of the savior. Any attempt you make to set a boundary, to prioritize your own needs, or to simply focus on your own life is subtly framed as an act of selfishness, a betrayal. They don't have to call you selfish. You already feel it. That guilt is the leash they use to keep you close. And here is the cruel psychological inversion. You don't feel this guilt because you are a bad person. You feel it precisely because you are a good and empathetic one. Your empathy, your natural desire to help and to heal, has been hijacked and turned into a weapon against you. They trigger your compassion to create a psychic debt that can never, ever be repaid. Because no matter how much you give, it will never be enough to fill the emptiness inside them. This unending debt keeps you tethered to them, willingly participating in your own depletion. But how do they ensure you never find the strength to cut the cord? They do it by making sure there's no one else to turn to. This leads us directly to the fourth, and perhaps most isolating sign. Sign 4. The strategic isolation. Take a look at your life, at your circle of friends. Is it smaller than it used to be? Have you drifted away from family members you were once close to? Do you find yourself declining invitations from other friends more often than not, perhaps because you feel too tired, or because you know it might cause friction with that one particular person? The fourth deadly sign is your slow, creeping, strategic isolation. This rarely happens overnight. It's a campaign of subtle influence. The life force thief will plant small, poisonous seeds of doubt about the other important people in your life. They'll say things like, I don't know, your friend Sarah just seems a bit dramatic, don't you think? Or, your family asks so much of you. They don't seem to appreciate how much you do. Each comment is disguised as concern for your well-being, but the underlying mission is always the same, to sever your other connections, one by one. The goal is to become your primary and eventually your only source of emotional support, to create a closed loop where your energy has only one place to go, to them. They become your confidant, your advisor, your crisis hotline. They create a world where they are the only person who truly understands you. And they don't isolate you simply to control you. They isolate you so there are no other voices, no outside perspectives. A healthy friend might notice how tired you look and ask if you're okay. A loving family member might point out how much you've changed. These outside observers are a threat to the entire system. By cutting you off from them, The psychic vampire ensures that the only reality you experience is the one they curate for you, a reality where their needs are paramount and your depletion is normal. And once you're isolated, the draining process accelerates, and it begins to manifest in a way you can no longer ignore, in your own body. This brings us to the fifth sign, a warning that your physical self is screaming, even if your mind refuses to listen. Sign 5. The unexplained physical toll. Your body keeps the score. While your mind can be tricked, gaslit, and convinced to ignore the truth, your body cannot lie. The fifth deadly sign is the mysterious and persistent physical toll this connection takes on you. Do you find yourself getting sick more often? Suffering from constant headaches, stomach problems, or a fatigue that feels bone deep? Do you feel a palpable tension in your shoulders and jaw every time your phone rings with their name? This isn't a coincidence. This is your nervous system screaming for help. The constant, low-grade stress of managing their emotions, of walking on eggshells to avoid their next crisis, of feeling perpetually guilty and obligated, puts your body in a prolonged state of fight or flight. Your cortisol levels are chronically elevated. Your immune system becomes suppressed. You are quite literally carrying their chaos in your cells. You might go to doctors who run tests and find nothing wrong. They might tell you it's just stress, or that it's all in your head. But you know it's more than that. You can feel it. It's a physical depletion that comes from a non-physical source. It's the exhaustion of having your life force, your vital energy, constantly leaking out. And here is the most telling physical clue of all. Notice how you feel when you have a period of distance from this person. If you go on a trip, or if they are away for a week, do you suddenly feel lighter? Does your energy mysteriously return? Do those nagging physical symptoms suddenly ease up? And then, the moment you reconnect, does the headache, the stomach ache, the profound weariness come rushing back? That is your body giving you the undeniable proof your mind has been resisting. It is showing you the source of the poison. It is telling you that this connection is not just emotionally draining you, it is making you physically sick. And as your body weakens, your very sense of self begins to erode. This leads us to the most tragic sign of all. Sign 6, the loss of your authentic self. Who are you? When was the last time you did something purely for yourself, without a flicker of thought about how someone else might react? When was the last time you stated an opinion without first mentally checking if it would be approved of? The sixth deadly sign is the most tragic of all, because it's not about what you've lost in terms of energy or health. It's about who you've lost. You've lost yourself. Slowly, imperceptibly, your tastes, your opinions, your very way of speaking have begun to morph, to bend and shape themselves around the other person. You stop recommending movies you know they'll dislike. You start echoing their political views to avoid an argument. You dress in a way you know they'll approve of. You have become a ghost in your own life, a carefully curated echo of their personality, designed for the singular purpose of avoiding conflict and winning their fleeting approval. Your own authentic self, with its unique desires, quirks, and passions, has been starved and silenced, locked away in a deep, forgotten part of your soul. This, whether they know it or not, is the psychic vampire's ultimate goal, the complete annihilation of your individuality. A strong, authentic, sovereign individual has boundaries. They have their own source of energy. They cannot be easily drained. But by transforming you into a mere extension of themselves, a mirror reflecting their own needs and beliefs, they ensure a limitless, unquestioning supply of your life force. It is at this point, when you look in the mirror and see a stranger, when you feel so hollowed out that you believe there is nothing left of the person you once were, that the final, most powerful mechanism of your psyche is activated. It is a desperate act of self-preservation. This emergency protocol generates the seventh and final sign, and it is not a symptom of your demise. It is the first shot fired in your revolution. It is the cure, finally beginning to emerge from the heart of the disease. Sign 7, the sudden violent clarity. The seventh and final sign is not a symptom that you are being drained. It is the undeniable proof that you are finally waking up. It doesn't creep in slowly. It happens in a flash. A sudden, shocking, electrifying moment of absolute clarity. It might be triggered by one slight too many, one more broken promise, one more manipulative comment. But suddenly, the fog lifts. The pieces of the puzzle that have been floating in your mind for years slam into place. You see the entire pattern, the manipulation, the guilt, the draining, the isolation, all of it with a cold, crystalline certainty. In that moment, you don't feel confusion anymore. You don't feel guilt. You might not even feel anger. You just see. And then, without even planning it, you act. You do something different. You set one small, quiet boundary. You say a simple, unapologetic no. You fail to offer the expected flood of sympathy for their latest self-inflicted crisis. You simply stand your ground in your own reality for the first time. And then comes the final, irrefutable confirmation. The proof that seals every doubt and silences every voice that ever called you crazy or selfish. Their reaction. It will not be subtle. It will be an explosion, a tidal wave of rage, of theatrical tears, of wild accusations, of desperate emotional blackmail. This disproportionate volcanic eruption is not an attack on you. It is the raw, primal panic of a predator that has just realized its food source has developed consciousness and is about to walk away. That explosion is not designed to hurt you. It is designed to scare you back into submission. It is the desperate final roar of a dying power. But for you, from this moment forward, that roar is not a threat. It is the beautiful, unmistakable sound of your own freedom. It is the final piece of evidence you will ever need. The diagnosis is complete. You are not crazy. You are not selfish. You have been a source of fuel. And now that you have this clarity, now that you have seen the truth, you need the plan of action. Your journey of recovery, of reclaiming every stolen piece of your soul, begins right now. The antidote. Reclaiming your life force. You survived. You saw the truth behind the curtain. Now let's seal the cracks in your psychic armor for good. The masters of the mind didn't just diagnose the poison, they gave us the antidote. This is a simple, 3-step plan to reclaim your life force and build an immunity to these attacks forever. Step 1. The energetic withdrawal. The first move is to cut off the supply. This does not mean you have to have a dramatic confrontation or end the relationship today. It means you must practice what the great thinkers called differentiation. You must stop feeding them your emotional energy. When they tell you about their latest crisis, you listen, but you do not absorb. You give short, factual, non-emotional responses. When they ask about your dreams, you become vague and uninteresting. You must become a dry well. This is not about being cruel. It is about ceasing to participate in the unconscious transaction. Step 2. The shadow integration. Next, you must welcome back the parts of you that this person taught you to hate. Your righteous anger, your ability to say no, your healthy, necessary selfishness. You must reclaim your shadow. Look in the mirror and say it out loud. I have the right to protect my energy. I have the right to put myself first. This is not just an affirmation. It is a declaration of sovereignty. It rebuilds your internal boundaries from the ground up, teaching your nervous system that it is safe to have an edge, to have a stopping point. Step 3. The life force reinvestment. Finally, you must take all the energy you are no longer giving away and consciously reinvest it in yourself. This is the most joyful part of the healing. Take that energy and pour it back into the hobbies you abandoned. Call that old friend you were subtly pushed away from. Start that creative project you were told was too risky. Every single act of self-investment, no matter how small, is an act of rebellion. It accelerates your healing, solidifies your new sovereign identity, and sends a clear message to the universe that your life force is no longer for sale. As you follow these steps, something miraculous will happen. The psychic vampire will begin to drift away. They will grow bored. You are no longer a source of food, and as they retreat, your energy will come flooding back. Your health will improve. Your ambition will reignite. You won't become a cold or bitter person. You will become a whole person, one whose kindness is now a conscious choice, not a compulsive vulnerability. The 7 signs are not a life sentence. They are a map to your escape. If you recognized yourself in this journey, know that the cage door is now wide open. Declare your freedom in the comments below. My life force is mine. Subscribe for more strategies to strengthen your mind and protect your soul. You were not born to be fuel for someone else's fire. You were born to be your own sun.